You know what I hate about Blizzard? Actually, that's a stupid question. I hate a lot about Blizzard. Let me rephrase that. You know what is one thing I really hate about Blizzard, but people don't really talk about? Their total lack of communication when it comes to anything that is not Retail World of Warcraft. I said it before, but keeping us in the dark for so long when it comes to Classic Plus, for example, so long that our feedback will not actually matter at all when the game is released, is a very bold decision. A very risky decision that comes with small rewards for big risk, rarely worth it, and should be done only by great developers, so not by Blizzard. But recently I realized there's something worse than radio silence, and that is when Blizzard actually speaks, because oh man, only trash comes out of that mouth. And the way I realized it is because I looked at retail. On social media platforms like YouTube and Instagram, all the comments on their latest trailers, posts and so on are almost always just people talking shit about the game and Blizzard in general, and to be fair, those comments are really funny sometimes. But then you look at how they communicate directly, on their own. Stuff like the State of Azeroth livestream, which I already made a video about, so I'm not gonna go into it again. But it should be a masterclass in stupidity and out of touchness. It's perfect for that. And there are other examples, but the one I want to focus on today are the interviews. Blizzard only holds interviews for retail. It's been years since we had any interview for any classic version of the game. But when I look at the ones we have for retail, yeah, I'm not sure I want interviews for classic anymore. They are cringe, they are bad, they are clearly heavily curated, they are lame, they make no sense, they are hosted by people you never heard of, and all of those things combined make them, at least for me, actually entertaining to watch sometimes, at least a few of them, because they are just so bad. First thing you will notice if for some reason you watch these interviews is that they are all the same. The same questions, roughly the same length, the same answers. They are clearly heavily curated, and that just defeats the purpose of the interview in the first place. The problem is that no one involved really cares about the interview itself. The person coming from Blizzard, if it's Eon or Holly Longdale, they are there for PR reasons to answer heavily curated questions that will make them look better. And the interviewer is usually some small YouTuber who wants that buck, who wants that gold, which good for them, I'm never gonna judge that. But even the comment sections of these videos have quite a lot of people mentioning this exact thing. The fact that they're all the same. But you know, there is no stupidity involved yet, and this would not be a video about Blizzard Entertainment if there wasn't any stupidity involved. Because you know, curating the questions you are gonna be asked is one thing, but making all of them so lame, irrelevant and boring is another thing. You have to be stupid for that. Like, you can make the guy hosting the interview play by your rules, make them ask only what you want them to ask. But man, you can add interesting questions too, you know? For example, questions about delves, right? There are some cool delves out there, and the idea in general is nice. There is one delve where you have to use mirrors to reflect light. And that light makes positioning super important because it gives you some buffs and the monsters have some debuffs, and it's generally quite fun. I really like that delve. You can ask about that, right? No. What questions do we get instead? Well, have you ever wondered how does Blizzard deal with developing different game modes like decor duels, working on multiple patches at the same time, and possibly even bigger game modes like Plunderstorm, all of this at the same time? How do they handle this internally? Have you? How many of you had sleepless nights wondering how does the internal workflow at Blizzard look like? What is the typical 9 to 5 day working on World of Warcraft? Now that is a raging question, something that has to be answered, and I have seen that question a few times already. What the fuck? What is this question? This is the kind of boring question no one wants to ask and no one wants to answer in an actual 9 to 5 meeting. Why is it present in a YouTube interview about a video game? No one that plays the game, no matter if the game is great or if the game is trash. No one sits there asking themselves, how does the average employee at Blizzard work? What's their workflow? What? Actually, you know what? If I was to host an interview, I would have a much better question. Listen to this. Developing a game requires many things. But most of all, right? Most of all, it requires the developers to be safe and healthy, right? You cannot develop a game with a broken spine, or even worse, dead. So we need to know. We need to know, because it's literally a core part of the game. If this doesn't happen, we don't have the game. So we need to know, how does Blizzard deal with pee on the floor? Especially in the men's bathroom. Since you know, some people pee standing, which is not good, but they will do it anyway. Maybe someone pees, maybe some pee doesn't reach the toilet bowl. We are not all trained archers. And over time, it's possible that a lot of it gets on the bathroom floor. Maybe it even goes outside of the bathroom if enough time passes. People can sleep on it because it gets slippery, you know, wet floors. And maybe they even die, they break their neck. How does Blizzard internally deal with that issue? I need to know, and I need to know how has this affected the development of the game so far. And by the way, this is just an example. These kinds of questions that ask about how things are approached internally, no one would ever actually ask these things. But even the questions that are actually about the game, goddamn, they are lame. The safest, most boring thing you can ever think about. Questions like, what has the team learned while transitioning from the War Within to the Midnight expansion? Like, what the fuck? Or, for example, what is your view of no longer obtainable rewards? Should some remain exclusive to preserve their prestige, or would you make them obtainable in new ways? I can answer that question. Anyone with a brain can answer that question. You don't have to work at Blizzard, because the answer is obvious, and of course, it's gonna be a variation of, well, for those really prestigious items that were actually linked to timed events, we want to keep those unobtainable, but for those that are not obtainable simply because the content was changed or removed, but it was never hard to get or prestigious when it was current content, we want to make them obtainable in other ways. And let me tell you this, I checked this after I wrote this part of the script to see if I am correct, and of fucking course this is the answer, because this is the only answer that would ever make sense based on what we already know about the game. But my favorite question is this, because it was presented as a question that all the people that deeply care about immersion would like to see answered. And I am a person that deeply cares about immersion, and in that regard I would have so many questions. So let's see what's this one question we all want to see answered. For players that care deeply about immersion, here goes. For players that care deeply about immersion, what really brings the world to life are features like social spaces, libraries, class and faction identity, neighborhood-style hubs, and rich environmental storytelling. Is this an area the team is looking to invest more going forward? Wow! I have seen this a few times at this point and I'm still rage baited by it. First of all, the answer is obviously yes. What do you expect them to tell you? No, we don't care about immersion, we don't want to expand that. But okay, let's say they expand on it when they answer and they save this total garbage question. There is still one itty bitty tiny problem here. Is this really what the people that care about immersion want to ask? Maybe I am a special little boy, but oh man, as someone that also cares deeply about immersion, I feel deeply left out. Because I would like to ask more about the lore, that is not just bad as fuck, but it also makes no sense. Logical plot holes everywhere, characters behaving in ways that are totally inconsistent with who they are. Years of previous lore totally ignored and invalidated and retconned. Those are things that are deeply immersion breaking, because it doesn't just decrease the quality of the world by a lot, but it makes the world make no sense. I would ask about, why am I called champion by everyone if my character has less than 5 hours of slash played? Why am I always invited and present at every single important event in the universe? But at the same time, I am literally ignored and used by everyone. During the War Within pre-patch, Aleria says something like, I don't remember exactly, but says something like, I waited for you, I want you to be with me when we meet Khadgar. We need to be together, all of us, we need to talk about this. And the cutscene starts and no one acknowledges you in any way. I said it before, but a dead rat would get more attention because someone would be like, get that shit out of here, it stinks, and someone would take it. No, you don't get the attention of a dead rat. I would ask about the atrocious quest design, where entire armies made out of the most powerful allies on Azeroth like Turelion, Lady Liadrin, Prophet Velen, Arator, Anduin, the entire Light Vanguard, and many others sit and watch as you get quests and you go and fight alone for incredibly important goals and they just stay there and watch. That's immersion breaking as hell. I would ask about the quality of many of the in-game cutscenes that somehow are so much worse than what we got during Wrath of the Lich King. I would ask about the stuff like the new characters wearing sleek sunglasses and having modern haircuts all of a sudden, or about the immersion breaking, immersion destroying, immersion annihilating transmog pieces like being a Death Knight, master over death and disease, but at the same time dressed like a stupid kid at a pool party. Your sword is made out of kid-friendly foam, and as you walk around you leave flowers and rainbows where you step. Class identity and faction identity. The people concerned about those things are really just wondering when are they gonna add a new library to the game? Really? All the classes feel the same because they can all do everything. The classes are ultra homogenized. It's been like this for many years. It's not even something worth mentioning anymore because it's such a common basic knowledge now. But the people that care about class identity are truly just wondering about when they are finally gonna get a new library in the game. How about the people that care about faction identity? They are also mentioned in the question, and I truly don't understand why. What factions? Does Retail WoW have any factions in the game? I sure don't see any in Midnight, I sure don't see any in The War Within, or in Dragonflight, or in Shadowlands. The Horde and the Alliance, the two factions, haven't been properly disposed even. We don't even have some trash lore explaining why they are never present, why they don't matter anymore, why they don't exist anymore. They're just straight up totally ignored, and that is that. That's it. I could keep going and I could keep asking and not once I would give a fuck about new libraries being added to the game as far as immersion goes, as a person that cares deeply about immersion. There are a million things I care about more, and I know I'm not alone. But hey, maybe that's me. Maybe you care about libraries. Let me know in the comment section what else do you care about. Who knows, maybe one day I will get to host an interview with Blizzard and I want to be prepared. Do you care about, I don't know, when are they gonna add a new cheese shop? Installment, right? Or maybe you are a silly goofball. Maybe you are wondering if they are ever gonna add an actual pool party zone, so we can finally use our pool party transmog. But yeah, I think that won't really be necessary because I will never get an interview. And I'm not saying this to look special or anything, like, look at me, I'm free, I'm the free man, I'm the one free thinking man, I cannot be silenced, I am the only one. No. Literally almost everyone that could ever ask these people questions, everyone that could hold an interview like this, would never naturally ask these boring, curated, PR-approved nonsensical questions. And also, there is a reason why almost all these interviews, if not actually all of them straight up, are hosted by very small creators and barely get any views. First of all, nobody cares, but also because there is no one left to talk about the game. No one that cares, no one that actually wants to ask questions. You know it's bad when people with channels smaller than mine, and my channel is very small, but people with channels smaller than mine can somehow get the directors, the leaders of the biggest MMO on the planet to come and have an interview with them on their channel. The only person still having interviews with Blizzard, real interviews, is Preach. That's it. And this sucks because, you know, interviews with questions from your player base are something really important. They can drive hype, they can calm down worries, they can act as one of the best kinds of feedback sometimes. They create trust, they make people feel heard. They can and should be a really powerful tool. But yeah, will we get a new library? That is what we are all wondering. It's obviously not the end of the world, though. If the game is super good, the fact that we have no good interviews doesn't matter that much. If the game is super bad, it doesn't matter either. I don't have like a big idea I want to share at the end of this video or some smart thing to end this with. It just annoys me and I wanted to talk about it. Because I have this problem with my videos and I really want to change it. Sometimes I want to make a video about something, World of Warcraft or other game, I don't know, and I end up not making it because after I finish writing the script, I wonder, okay, so where is the smart conclusion here? What I actually want to say? What is the interesting part? What is the cool part? And I had so many videos that I felt like I wanted to make, but I did not because I did not have a good answer to those questions. But going forward, I will try to ignore that sometimes. Not every video must be that way. I sometimes enjoy talking about what I feel and what I want to say, I don't know. I'm sure you get it. Like a journal or something. Anyway, don't forget to... I almost forgot. I have my first channel member. I am so sorry I never mentioned this before. I just had no idea. There was no notification, no pop-up, no nothing. I just accidentally checked and I saw I have a channel member. So far, I totally ignored the members and the benefits because I thought none existed. But I have a member. This guy, Yogi the Yoga Bear, has been a member for almost a month. And those member perks I promised, yeah, none of that really happened. And I wanted to say I'm sorry about that. I just didn't know. But also my biggest thanks for this support. I don't know how to explain it, but man, it made my day. I will make sure to take care of those member benefits and also will make sure to check if there are new members joining from now on. So if you want to support, you have no idea how much that matters to me. I will throw in some cool stuff in there as well, and I will take care of those perks. Anyway, thanks a lot if you listened until now. Don't forget to sub to the channel, and until the next time, peace.